Has had a devastating impact on the elderly, many of whom were trapped during fighting in the regions of Donetsk and Luhansk. Fergal Keane has reported on the war since it began, and he's followed the stories of some of those directly affected.
The war is in its 7th year.
Everything is ruined or burned. Only the chimneys are left standing. Our house burned down. There is no roof.
There are more than 13,000 dead.
Even though 7 years have passed, I still feel like they're next to me.
Living on this front line, it took a rare determination not to flee your home. We first met Svetlana 6 years ago. And that night saw how she and husband Anatoly lived with constant war. Anatoly was a beekeeper, and the couple among a handful of people determined to stay in the frontline village of Pesky.
Just take a look. If I went to a city, I would be under shelling as well. Somebody could shoot me or steal my car.
When we went back the following winter, a warm welcome.
How are you?
But the strain was growing.
We are sad. It's not the right word to say we are sad. Of course we are.
I want to cry.
Now, 7 years after the war began, I'm returning to see what's happened to Anatoly and Svetlana. I knew they'd been forced to leave their home.
There he is.
But in their new home, far from the front, the welcome was still warm.
I knew you too.
At 74, they're making a new home. The old one is lost forever.
We will never get back. We believe that Pesky is almost destroyed.
But the bond between them is as strong as it's ever been in their more than 50 years of marriage.
What makes you happy? What's the secret to being happy?
How could I not be happy with such a mischievous wife?
The best gift for me is you.
It's just always heartening to visit them. You come here, you eat wonderfully, and go away feeling that bit better about humanity.
But even away from the front line, life is hemmed in by the war. I'm on my way now to meet a woman I met 7 years ago, early in the conflict, when she was one of the wounded carried across the front lines, on a day when her grandchildren were killed beside her.
I don't know how I'm going to survive this.
6-year-old Karolina and Nikita, aged 12 and disabled, were killed by a long-range shell.
Even though 7 years have passed, I still feel like they're next to me. I cry often and deeply. It's very hard, but that's what it is with me. They're always next to me.
But there is new life in Lyubov's world. Dominic, aged 2, was born after the killing of his brother and sister.
It's lovely to see you smile again.
I'm smiling because I live for him now. I have someone to take care about. He brings me joy. He comes to my place, knocks on the door and shouts, "Grandma!" and comes in as if it's his own place and takes everything he wants. He's always happy when I tell him we're going out. He brings his things and off we go.
The stories of Lyubov and Dominic, of Anatoly and Svetlana, are filled with loss. But they also speak of a tenacious humanity, refusing to yield to the cruelty of war.